Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the top stories. President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed Judge Dunstan Mlambo as Deputy Chief Justice of South Africa effective tomorrow.
The application does not engage the court's jurisdiction and no case has been made out for direct access.
The Constitutional Court has denied direct access to the Umkhonto weSizwe Party and former President Jacob Zuma in the matter against President Cyril Ramaphosa. South Africa is bracing for a 30% tariff on its exports to the United States, set to take effect tomorrow. And the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee has decided to reduce the repo rate by 25% basis points to 7% with effect from the 1st of August. Good evening and welcome to Prime News on 3, where the news comes alive and the conversation begins. Tonight we shine a spotlight on the stories that matter most. My name is Beki Mutumomolete, your anchor for this evening. Let us dive into the issues that define our nation and our world. President Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed Judge Dunstan Mlambo as Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa with effect from tomorrow. Judge Mlambo has since November 2012 served as Judge President of the Gauteng Division of the High Court of South Africa. President Ramaphosa has in writing informed Chief Justice Mandisa Maya that in appointing Justice Mlambo, the President has considered the views of the Judicial Service Commission and the views of political parties represented in the National Assembly. The President has also expressed to the Chief Justice his appreciation for the transparent, inclusive and robust process undertaken by the JSC. Meanwhile, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga closed a chapter of his service to the bench by delivering the judgment in the landmark protracted Vodacom versus Makate battle. The occasion was also made by tributes to the top judge, who was described as a truly outstanding jurist and formidable lawyer.
Justice Madlanga, who was hailed for the preservation of the rule of law, drew the curtains on a service to the bench by delivering the landmark Vodacom versus Makate judgment, where he upheld the rule of law by remitting the matter, which the Apex Court found had fatal shortcomings in it, back to the Supreme Court of Appeal for a fresh hearing before a new panel. The final judgment of a career he attributed to his parents.
In particular, my father, who directed me in the direction of studying law. It was a good direction, I think, because I think if he was still alive, he would have been very proud of the achievements that I have managed to attain.
The judgment formed part of the special ceremonial sitting, bidding Madlanga farewell.
Justice Madlanga's career is not just a chronicle of personal achievement, it's a tale of how one individual's dedication to justice can shape the destiny of a nation.
Advocates for transformation upheld these sentiments as it highlighted how Madlanga's work embodied the promises of South Africa's constitution.
The idea that law must be a tool to transform society from its unjust past to a future grounded in human rights and equality. Whether it was a poor farm worker defending her home, a bereaved partner seeking recognition, or citizens fighting for a voice in elections, Justice Madlanga's judgments have given practical effect to the noble ideals of our Constitution.
As Madlanga hangs up his robes in the highest court in the land, the work is not yet done. The top judge will now preside over the Commission of Inquiry tasked with probing allegations that sent shockwaves through the nation. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Please Call Me inventor Nkosana Makate's battle with Vodacom has been referred back to the Supreme Court of Appeal. The Constitutional Court delivered a long-awaited judgment granting Vodacom leave to appeal the Supreme Court judgment.
In what was expected to bring finality on a case that has dragged on for years, the Makate versus Vodacom matter is heading back to the Supreme Court of Appeal. The Constitutional Court said it was not happy with aspects of the Supreme Court of Appeal's ruling.
The court makes the following order. 1. Leave to appeal is granted. 2. The appeal is upheld. 3. The order of the Supreme Court of Appeal is set aside. 4. The matter is remitted to the Supreme Court of Appeal to be reheard by a differently constituted panel of judges of that court. 5. Each party must pay their own wasted costs in respect of the abortive hearing of the matter in the Supreme Court of Appeal. 6. The first respondent must pay the applicant's costs in this court, including the costs of 3 counsel. I hand down the judgment.
The Supreme Court of Appeal, according to Justice Mahlanga, had committed certain errors in how it assessed the liability of Vodacom to pay Mr. Makate.
Despite the slight setback, Makate says he's still resilient.
Now, obviously, we expected a different decision, and we have to abide with the court decision. And we're going back to the SCA because they have said that the SCA must apply themselves properly, and maybe outline the reasons that actually led them to a decision.
Diabo Seto, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Still on matters of the Constitutional Court, former President Jacob Zuma and the Mkhonto weSizwe Party have failed to engage the Constitutional Court's exclusive jurisdiction in its bid to challenge President Ramaphosa's 3 related decisions regarding Police Minister Senzo Mchunu leave of absence. That is, the President's decision to place Mchunu on a leave of absence, the appointment of Professor Feroz Kachalia as the acting Minister of Police, as well as the decision to establish a judicial commission of inquiry.
This is the unanimous decision of the court. The Constitutional Court has considered the application for exclusive jurisdiction and direct access. It has concluded that the application does not engage the court's jurisdiction and no case has been made out for direct access. And the following order is made. 1. Direct access is refused. 2. Costs are reserved. 3. Reasons for this order shall be given at a later date. Thank you.
In other news just in, Parliament's Ethics Committee has found Deputy President Paul Mashatile guilty of failing to declare a diamond gift from criminally accused businessman Louis Liebenberg. Mashatile has now been fined 10,000 rand for that offence. The Ethics Committee has also resolved that Mashatile be reprimanded in the National Assembly. The complaint against the Deputy President came from the DA Chief Whip, George Michalakis, in March this year, following the perusal of the confidential declaration of interests of Mashatile. The Deputy President initially told the committee he was waiting for the value of the diamond before he could declare it. But he now says he has surrendered the gift to the National Prosecuting Authority. Mashatile has been facing ongoing pressure over his declaration of a multi-million rand property in the Western Cape. And with that said, it is now time for a short break. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back. Good news for indebted consumers as the Reserve Bank cuts interest rates in line with expectations. The Reserve Bank has reduced the repo rate by 25 basis points to 7%. This means the prime lending rate, the benchmark rate at which commercial banks lend to their customers, will be 10.5%. This, as inflation is at the bottom of the target band and is expected to remain contained for this year.
The Reserve Bank has decided to cut the repo rate, offering breathing space to those with debt. This translates to reduced loan repayments, putting some money back in the pockets of consumers.
The MPC now prefers inflation to settle at 3%. In line with this, we have decided to aim for the bottom of our target range of 3 to 6%. We welcome the recent moderation in inflation expectations and would like to see expectations fall further. This would expand policy space and make our framework more robust to shocks. We will use forecasts with a 3% inflation anchor at future meetings.
Economists say this is likely the last interest rate cut, with the Reserve Bank targeting 3% and inflation expected to rise in the coming months.
We said that 7% is probably the neutral level that the MPC will aim towards. And I guess with a 4.5% target, that would have made sense. You leave it at 7%, you see how inflation performs. If it settles at 4.5%, then you are, performing well as a monetary policy committee.
Governor Lesitja Kganyago says the MPC remains wary of potential disruptions from permanently higher tariffs or adverse geopolitical developments. Growth in the local economy is expected to remain low, weighed on by supply-side problems like logistics constraints and heightened uncertainty levels affecting output as well as business and consumer confidence. Gloria Sefakomosi, SABC News, Johannesburg.
South Africa is bracing itself for a 30% tariff on its exports to the United States, set to take effect on Friday. Despite trying for months to negotiate with President Donald Trump's administration, South Africa's Trade Ministry says it's yet to get an answer to its proposals for a deal.
Earlier this month, the BRICS member countries and their associates concluded the summit that called for countries to increase trade among themselves. They have also agreed to use national currencies when they trade. This issue will likely see the group looking at alternative markets. In Washington, President Donald Trump watched with keen interest and moved to deter countries from supporting BRICS policies. He has warned of an additional 10% tariff on BRICS members. Earlier on, President Cyril Ramaphosa defended the BRICS group.
I think there needs to be greater appreciation of the emergence of various centers of power in the world, as the declaration observed. And this should be seen in positive light rather than in a negative light. It should be seen as improving the governance of the world and enhancing good processes and policies that should help the development of humanity as a whole.
President Trump has taken a tough stance against India, Brazil, and Russia, using tariffs as a yardstick. But President Ramaphosa says there is no need for BRICS countries to be punished, as these are independent states. Sophie Mkwena, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The Democratic Alliance in Gauteng says the city of Johannesburg is unlikely to get the city ready for the much-anticipated G20 summit. With just 3 months left before South Africa plays host to global leaders, the Democratic Alliance says service delivery failures have still not been addressed.
Plan. We've asked whether, this bomb squad is actually then already on the ground doing work. The answer is no. We've asked what is the terms of reference so that we know what is it that we should be looking for. There's no terms of reference. We've asked to then say what is the budget, who is responsible for that budget, and where is actually then money being spent. There's no answer. And you just need to then look around and tell me if you think that we are heading in the right direction, and you think that in 3 months' time, because in November, that's when the world will be descending on our shores.
Thank you for staying with us. The state has added another case to the ongoing trial linked to the killing of 18 people at Ngobazana village in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape last year. The trial of the 6 accused has been adjourned until tomorrow by the Mthatha High Court special sitting in Lusikisiki's Magistrates Court. The state has linked the firearms used to kill the 18 deceased to the firearms used to kill ANC politician in KwaBhaca, Ncedisi Gijana. Gijana was gunned down at the Lubaqweni village in August last year, just before the mass murder in Lusikisiki. The state called its first witness today, the brother of the late politician Ncedisi Gijana. It says the firearms used to kill the 18 deceased have been positively linked to Gijana's murder. The court had to be adjourned as the witness broke down while relaying how he found his brother in a pool of blood. This was after 3 balaclava-clad gunmen carrying rifles came to their home looking for Gijana. The 18 deceased were fatally shot while preparing for a traditional ceremony at Ngobazana village. The accused are facing a string of charges which include murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. The trial continues tomorrow. The winds of change are blowing and the forecast is unfolding. Let's journey through the skies with our weather team and see what we can expect. Coming up next.
Thank you very much and a very warm welcome to the weather desk. Now let's take a quick look at what to expect in our weather details for tonight and going into tomorrow. A cold front has passed through most parts of the country, bringing in isolated showers and thunder showers over the central and southern parts of the Northern Cape, extending into the Western Cape and Eastern Cape provinces, but scattered along the south coast of the Eastern Cape. Tomorrow, those rainy conditions are expected to clear from the west, leaving clear and sunny skies over the central and western parts of the country, but isolated as you move into KwaZulu-Natal and the coastal regions of the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape province. Scattered showers and rain expected along the south coast of the Eastern Cape. We do have some weather warnings for this evening. Disruptive snow expected over the central and northern parts of the Eastern Cape province, as well as damaging winds in those areas. Damaging winds and waves along the coastal regions of the Eastern Cape, Western Cape and Northern Cape province. And again, damaging winds expected along the east coast of KwaZulu-Natal as well as parts of the Eastern Cape province. Tomorrow, those weather warnings do continue. Those damaging winds and waves along the east coast, stretching all the way into the south coast and west coast of the country. And again, damaging winds still expected along the east coast of the Eastern Cape, or rather KwaZulu-Natal and adjacent interior. Overnight temperatures are expected to remain fairly cold for most parts of the country. There are a minimum of 0 overnight. Bloemfontein 1, -1 in Bethlehem, 7 in Johannesburg, Musina 8, George 8 as well, Cape Town 7. Sutherland will remain very cold with an overnight minimum of -7. We are expecting temperatures to remain fairly cool for tomorrow afternoon. 15 as a maximum in Bloemfontein, Bethlehem 16, here in Johannesburg 19 as a maximum, 21 in Pretoria, slightly warmer in Messina with a maximum of 27, 14 in Gqeberha, Beaufort West 12, 17 expected in Cape Town. Sutherland will remain cold with a maximum of 11. That's all from the weather desk.
The evening stories have come to a close, but the conversation continues. Thank you for watching Prime News. I will be back with you again tomorrow evening. Until then, from myself, Becky, and the team, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay ahead of the curve. Good night.